How are you?
What's up? How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good afternoon, everybody. Before we get started, I want to recognize a very special person in the room, Marla. This is her last game covering the Cavs. She's been a consistent person at our practices, our games. She used to travel on the road with us. She's a really great person, and tonight's her last game covering the Cavs. And so I know Jared Allen is one of her favorite players to cover. So, and Jared autographed the jersey for you. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Oh, God, this is like great. Thanks.
You're welcome.
I'll resist the temptation to wear it.
And with that, you have the first question, Paul.
Sure. Just question, what's up with Darius? Is he playing?
Since it's your last day, I'll give it to you. Darius is playing tonight. Yeah, he will go.
And do you have, is there a minutes restriction and all? I assume you'll wear goggles too?
No, he's going to play without the goggles. The medical staff and talking to doctors, everything from a eyeball perspective is healthy. So he'd be just the same amount of risk as anybody else. If he were to get poked in the eye again, his thing was more about the swelling in the eyelid. So, the eyeball and his vision is good. As far as the minutes go, probably shorter stints for him. And then, again, see how he's feeling. But obviously leave him some minutes for the fourth quarter.
Coach, I know you said last time against Boston, every team is a test, but to see in the Eastern Conference champs twice in a week, is there something extra to that?
It shouldn't be. I understand the outside noise that says there is, but again, we keep talking about the same thing with our group, and that's our standard. So no matter who our opponents are, do we feel confident that we played to our standard every single night? I'm still waiting for us to put a full 48 together at our standard. I think we've had, some great halves, some great overtime periods, those types of things. But I don't think we've put together a full 48-minute game to our standard. So, expecting us to improve there because that's what it's about as the season continues is, how many games and how many nights do we play to our standard?
Part of that standard, I know, is your defense, and your fourth quarter defense has been ridiculous, top in the league. But how can you have that translate, in the first quarter?
Well, that's you must have been in our meeting the other day, but that's the conversation that we're having with our guys is like, if you look at our numbers, first half to second half, even third quarter to fourth quarter, and then go even further than that, go into the overtime games that we played, our defense in the second half as a whole is elite, but fourth quarters and overtime, it's record pace. So, will you be able to do that for all four quarters? Probably not, but it definitely can improve from where it's been in our first halves and in first quarters. And, we know Boston is a really good first quarter team. Jason Tatum is extremely aggressive in first quarters. So we have to be prepared and give ourselves an opportunity, to be in the game for the entire game.
Tom Withers, AP, JB, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
You guys kind of shot your way out of it into that game the other night. The threes numbers are up. What's your sweet spot on attempts?
Honestly, we do not have one. As many open shots as teams are willing to give us, we'll take them. And when you have guys, of the level of Donovan, Darius, Karras, even, Evan in the post up, JA on the roll, teams are running into the paint to take the layups away, which, obviously you understand. So those guys, all of them in their own way, have the ability to make the next pass, right? Jared in the pick and roll is really good at catching and seeing opposite of him and finding those guys. Darius and Donovan and Bert, they can make all the passes in the pockets or the throw out. So, Evan, the same thing. You want to double team the ball or let Evan get behind you in the pick and roll. He's got great vision to see the defender and then the outlet. So, as many open threes or teams are willing to give us, we're going to take the open ones.
guys talk about in a lot of meetings. Are you seeing organically though, guys recognizing those types of situations where you get that spacing or you get those doubles and you can get those kicks?
Yeah, I mean, and this isn't something that just manifested itself this year, right? This is something that we've been talking about, since we got here. Personnel has dictated the way that teams have decided to play us. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to run to Darius. They're going to run to Donovan. They're going to take Jarrett's roles away. So it's important that we are able to make those passes to the open guy. And it's even more important that the open guy makes it.
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. Hey, JB.
What's up, Chris?
With adding Darius back into the mix, how do you make sure you get the same Donovan Mitchell that you've had without Darius?
It's the expectation that Donovan stays aggressive. It's our responsibility to put the ball in his hands and give him those chances. We will, and our plan coming out was to kind of ping pong those guys anyway, so that one of them was always on the floor. So you do give Donovan, those same opportunities. But at the same time, like, we have to be realistic, and it's an 82-game season. We've asked Donovan to do a lot early because Darius has been gone as far as a minute standpoint. So we want to make sure that Donovan, Darius, all of our guys are ready for the long haul and the length of the NBA season. So being able to cut his minutes down and having Darius on the floor, does him a favor long term.
Is it fair to say that this is like the first time since Donovan got here that you're asking him to adjust his role from what he was used to?
I don't. You're saying used to in his past or used to? I don't think so. Because he played with Mike Conley, he played with Ricky Rubio. He played off the ball with those guys as well. To be honest, it's been more of a flip for him to be the primary ball handler, all the time, because he played with those guys who are, lead guards. So I think he's comfortable there. But what we have the ability to do is, put those guys in combination actions. And now you're forcing teams to do a whole lot of different things. And, one of them can handle, the other one can be off the ball. You can flip it. So there's things that we can do that keep those guys involved, where, we just have to take what the defense gives us and make them pay for the mistake that they made.
Danny Cunningham, ESPN Cleveland. JB, when reinserting a guy of Darius's caliber into the lineup, what kind of adjustment acclimation period do you expect the rest of the guys to have to deal with?
I think the guys who have played with him in the past, it should be quick. I do think there's a learning curve with him and Donovan, and even him and Karras to an extent, because they haven't had a chance to play a ton of minutes together. But what Darius has the ability to do is read the game and make the game easier for other people. His role is simple. He does it at a high level, but shoot when you're open, pass when you're not. So it doesn't complicate it for the other guys. And, he is a pass first guy, even though he has the ability to score the ball the way he does. So, we're hopeful that it's an easy transition. We expect it to be. There will be some bumps in the road, clearly. That's just the nature of it. But, as long as those guys continue to play aggressively and selflessly, we'll figure it out pretty quick.
And you mentioned a number of times keeping one of Darius or Donovan on the floor. Is that something that's possible when Darius is playing the shorter stints as he works back from this?
Yeah, for sure. Again, it just, Donovan's stretch can be a little bit longer, and then Darius can come back when Donovan needs that blow. So, that's the plan. We've worked out the rotation, so that should be able to work.
JB, I know I've asked you about it, but Karras having kind of multiple roles now, going back to playing at the 3 with Darius back. Were those what were the conversations today about kind of switching back to that role once needed at small forward?
It's what we try to do is continue to communicate. So like today's conversations are no different than the conversations we've had, right? Like Karras is aware of exactly what he needs to do to help the team, at that spot, because that's where we thought he was going to be in the beginning. So, I think he's proven what he's capable of there. And it's the same thing is like the ball is going to find you. And then the decision you make when the ball finds you is what's important. And, the way teams play and protect in the paint, like he's going to get open shots. He's going to get closeout opportunities. So he just needs to be himself. And that's what, like, it's easier to adjust when you can just be comfortable in your own skin. And that's what hopefully we're trying to get him to be.
We had to have like conversations about like when his shots aren't falling, but in the other ways that he's impacting the game, and just kind of reminding him of those ways that he is continuously impacting the game, even if shots aren't falling.
Yeah, I mean, like the same conversations, that I've had with you guys in the past, or the conversations I've had with Karis. Like his shots are going to go, and he's going to have his nights. What can't happen is, you can't stop doing the other things that he does to help our team win. And he never has. You know what I mean? Like you look up, he's got 7-8 assists all the time. He's guarding the other team's best perimeter player most nights, and he's never wavered from that, no matter what his shot was doing. So, there's going to come a run where we're going to see Karis go on a tear. And because he's getting to his spots and taking his shots. It's another thing if, he's taking terrible shots and they're out of the rhythm of the offense and they're not, there's no floor balance and those types of things. But like he's taking his shots and the shots that his teammates expect him to take.
Marla, right now, our Akron Beacon Journal will do it right this time. Did Neto get hurt during the game?
Yeah, he got hurt Sunday. In Sunday's game, he got hurt. Yeah.
How concerned are you about back point guards? I mean, especially with Darius not going to, I would assume. And can Karis have to do that too?
If needed, he will. Again, knock on wood, as we go through our rotations, we feel confident with the Darius and Donovan ping pong so that one of those guys can always play the point. If we are in a bind in some way, then Karis has done it for us in the past. Jetty's played that position for us in the past. Evan is capable of bringing the ball up and playing. So we'll get it across half court, I promise. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Point Mobley, let's go.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I'll make that. Thank you so much.